Dr. Maren Holt had never been the kind of person anyone expected to become a hero. She was small, thin, always hunched over a data pad, and usually carried at least 3 pens in her lab coat pocket. Her oversized glasses always slid down her nose, and her hair was always tied up in an uneven bun that looked like it was losing a fight with gravity. But none of that mattered in the quiet halls of Orbital Research Station Helix 9, a human-run science station floating peacefully around a blue-green gas giant. Here, Maren was known for one thing only. She cared more about alien biology than she cared about sleep, food, or socializing. And she loved her work. On this particular day, Maren was alone in her xenobiology lab, humming softly as she cleaned her tools. The soft lights above flickered every few seconds. The station was old, and the maintenance team never had time to fix everything. Still, it felt like home. Her peaceful cleaning was suddenly broken by a loud alarm blaring through the speakers. Beep! 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 Unidentified life form detected near docking bay 2. Maren froze. Life form? Near the docking bay? That didn't make sense. The station had scheduled no arrivals for today. A moment later, the overhead voice continued. Emergency landing pod detected. Impact stable. Possible injured entity. Maren's heart jumped. Injured? She whispered, already grabbing her toolkit. I'm coming. Most people on the station would wait for the security team to investigate. Most people would assume the worst. Hostile creature, unknown threat, dangerous alien infection. But Maren wasn't like most people. She rushed out of her lab, her boots clacking against the metal floor. The station felt unusually quiet. Only the hum of the ventilation system followed her as she sprinted down hallway after hallway. By the time she reached docking bay 2, 2 security officers were already there. One was holding a stun rifle. The other was speaking urgently into a communicator. Maren pushed past them. What happened? Is something hurt? Let me see. The officer with the rifle sighed heavily. Dr. Holt, this might be dangerous. We don't know what came in that pod. I don't care, Maren said, standing on her toes to see beyond them. If it's alive and in pain, then I'm going. The security officer gave her a tired look, the kind of look that said he had lost this argument many times before. Fine, but do not get too close until we confirm it's safe. Maren nodded, even though she had no intention of listening to that. The 3 of them stepped inside the docking bay. The air smelled slightly burnt from the pod's entry. A small metallic escape vessel sat dented against the wall. Smoke curled from its side and a few sparks popped out of an exposed panel. Something moved beside it. Maren gasped. Her entire face lit up in excitement. Curled on the floor was a small alien creature, no bigger than a large dog. It had shimmering scales that shifted colors slowly, like oil on water. 2 little wings were folded tightly against its back. Its tail was long and thin, ending in a soft, glowing tip. And its head. Its head was shaped like a tiny dragon's. A tiny dragon. Maren's heart melted instantly. Oh, my stars. It's adorable, she whispered. The creature lifted its head weakly. Its large golden eyes blinked at her, shimmering with pain. It tried to make a noise, something like a chirp mixed with a small growl, but the sound cracked halfway through. Maren took 1 step forward. The security officer grabbed her arm. Dr. Holt, stay back. We don't know if it's hostile. Does that look hostile to you? She said, pointing at the tiny, shaking form. It's scared and hurt. That's all. The creature flinched when the officer spoke loudly. Its scales flickered with dull red light, fear mixed with distress. Without waiting for permission, Maren gently knelt down, lowering herself to the creature's level. She kept her hands open and her voice soft. Hey there, she whispered. It's okay. I won't hurt you. The creature's breathing was uneven. It tried to back away, but its legs trembled too much to move. Marin noticed something odd, a faint pulsing light coming from the side of its jaw. The pulsing seemed irregular, almost like it was short-circuiting, and each time it pulsed, the creature winced in pain. She leaned forward slightly. "Is it your mouth? Is something wrong?" The creature let out a low whine, almost like it understood her question. The officer behind her shook his head. "You can't seriously be thinking of treating it here. Bring it to quarantine first." Marin shook her head. "Quarantine can wait. This creature is in pain right now." Marin, she didn't let him finish. She slowly extended her hand toward the dragon-like creature. It didn't bite. It didn't growl. Instead, it gently pressed its snout into her palm. The glowing tip of its tail brightened with a soft blue light, the creature's scales calming. Marin felt a rush of emotion, not fear, not confusion, but trust. The little alien trusted her. "Good," she whispered, smiling softly. "You're okay. I've got you." Carefully, she reached under its body and lifted it into her arms. The creature was surprisingly light and warm, so warm it felt like holding a heated blanket. The officers stared at her in disbelief. "You're just picking it up? Like that?" the one with the stun rifle asked. "Yes," Marin said, adjusting the creature so its wings weren't squished. "Gently, because it's hurting. Please open the door to the lab." The officers looked at each other, shrugged, and followed her. At this point, they knew trying to stop Marin was pointless. As she carried the creature down the hallway, she felt the soft vibration of its breathing. Its head rested weakly against her shoulder. Every few seconds, it let out a tiny whimper. Marin spoke soothingly to it the entire way. "You're safe. Don't worry. I'll help you. I can fix whatever's hurting you." When they reached her laboratory, she placed the creature gently on the exam table. It curled up immediately, tail wrapped protectively around itself. The glowing at the side of its jaw flickered again, and the creature flinched. Marin narrowed her eyes. "Definitely the mouth. Something is wrong with your tooth, or your jaw structure." She stepped around the room, gathering her tools. The officers stood at the doorway, unsure whether to stay or leave. "You two can go," Marin said without looking at them. "I'll run scans and take care of it." "Are you sure?" one asked. Marin finally turned to look at them. Her voice was calm but firm. "This creature is not dangerous. It's scared and in pain. I'll be fine." The officers hesitated but eventually nodded and left the room. The door slid shut behind them. Marin took a deep breath and approached the creature again. "All right, my little friend," she said softly. "Let's see what's going on with your tooth." The creature made a quiet clicking sound, almost like trying to talk. Marin smiled. "It's okay. I talk to myself too." She activated the scanning device and gently touched its cheek. A holographic image appeared above the creature's head, showing the inner structure of its jaw. Marin gasped. The creature had a severely decayed tooth, one of its upper fangs. But unlike human teeth, these alien teeth weren't just for chewing. They were connected directly to a system of biological energy channels running through the creature's skull, and the decay was causing those energy channels to spark violently. That pulsing light she saw earlier, it wasn't just pain, it was unstable energy. If left untreated, the creature might accidentally release a burst of bioplasma, not an explosion, but enough to injure itself, and maybe someone else. "Oh, you poor thing," Marin whispered. "No wonder you're hurting." The little dragon curled closer to her hand, shivering softly. Marin stroked its head. "Don't worry, I can fix this. I promise." She prepared her tools, her expression turning serious. This was more than just a simple dental problem. This was a chance to help a species humanity had never encountered before. It was also the first time a creature like this had trusted a human. As Marin adjusted her glasses and leaned in to begin treatment, Her heart thumped with excitement and fear. She had no idea that saving one small tooth was about to change the future of humanity forever. Dr. Maren Holt always believed that science could build bridges between species, but she never expected that her bridge would begin with a dental procedure on a tiny alien dragon. Yet here she was, standing beside the exam table in her xenobiology lab, preparing to fix a creature she had met less than an hour ago. The small dragon lay curled tightly on the metal surface. Its shimmering scales had dimmed from vibrant colors to soft, tired hues. Every few seconds, a faint pulse of light ran along its jaw, and each pulse made it flinch. Maren arranged her tools: sterile pads, micro-lasers, energy stabilizers, a soft restraining harness, and a tiny dental mirror. She wiped her forehead with her sleeve, though she wasn't even sweating. She was excited. So excited she had to keep reminding herself not to bounce on her toes. "Okay, little friend," she said gently. "We'll take this slowly. If something hurts, just growl at me or tap the table or, change colors. I'll try to understand." The creature blinked its large golden eyes, then let out a small chirp, almost like it was trying to reassure her. Maren smiled. "Thank you. I'll do my best." She reached out to adjust the scanner beside the table. The hologram showed the same thing as before. The creature had a severely decayed tooth that was interfering with a network of energy channels inside its head. Human teeth didn't do anything like that, so this was new and fascinating, but it also meant she had to be extremely careful. She took a slow breath, put on her gloves, and gently lifted the small dragon's head. "All right, let's look inside." The creature opened its mouth with surprising obedience. Maren could see rows of tiny, sharp teeth, some metallic-looking, some crystal-like, and one very damaged. The decayed tooth was darkened and cracked, and every time it pulsed with unstable energy, the surrounding gums glowed faintly. Maren's voice softened even more. "That must hurt so much. I'm sorry you had to travel alone in that escape pod." The dragon blinked slowly, as if telling her it understood. She brought the dental mirror closer. "This will feel cold, okay?" The mouth glowed a soft blue as the creature hummed. Almost like it was answering, Maren froze, her eyes widening. "You understand what I'm saying?" The creature paused, then gave a firm nod. Maren nearly dropped the mirror. "Oh, okay, you're sentient. Wow, that's incredible. No pressure. It's not like I'm doing alien dental surgery on a thinking being who actually knows what's happening." She took a deep breath and steadied her hands. "Right. Focus, Maren. One step at a time." She used a very gentle anesthetic mist, safe for unknown species, and watched the creature's body relax. The glowing pulse along its jaw slowed slightly. "Good, very good," she murmured. "Now let's clear the damaged area." She activated the micro-laser. The laser emitted a soft, harmless beam of light, barely visible. She carefully trimmed away the rotted part of the alien tooth, making sure not to disturb the energy channels beneath it. The creature twitched once, its scales briefly flashing orange, then quickly calming to blue again. "Sorry," Maren whispered. I know. Almost done with this part." She worked slowly, trimming, cleaning, and stabilizing. She used her xenobiology tools to absorb excess energy before it could spark. The creature made soft sounds, half whimpers, half chirps, but never pulled away. "You're being so brave," Maren said, smiling warmly. "Braver than I would be." The tiny dragon lifted one paw and touched her wrist lightly. Maren almost melted on the spot. "Oh, my stars, you're so cute, but don't distract me. This part is tricky." She switched to an energy stabilizer device shaped like a small metal ring. She gently placed it around the damaged tooth. A holographic display lit up above it, showing real-time readings. The creature's energy channels were extremely active. Its biology was some kind of bioplasma system. The tooth wasn't just for chewing. It acted like a conductor or capacitor. Fixing it meant balancing the energy flow at the same time. "This is amazing," Marin whispered. "Your species is unlike anything I've studied. Your teeth are part of your power system, almost like, oh, like dragons in old human legends. They stored fire in their bodies." The creature hummed proudly, its eyes glowing gold. Marin gasped. "You understood that too? You're proud of the dragon comparison?" The small creature raised its chin with dignity. Marin giggled quietly. Okay. You're definitely a dragon, a very adorable one." She continued working. The station outside her lab was silent except for the faint hum of machinery. The calm atmosphere helped her focus. She sealed the tooth with a biocompatible crystal compound. Human dentists didn't use crystals, but alien biology often required unusual materials. The compound bonded instantly, forming a smooth surface. The pulsing light along the dragon's jaw grew more stable. The creature let out a slow breath of relief. Marin reached up and stroked its head gently. "You're doing great. Just one more step." She activated the energy regulator. The ring around the tooth glowed bright blue, then slowly dimmed. It was synchronizing the restored tooth with the creature's bioplasma system. As she watched the holographic readings stabilize, Marin felt a wave of joy. "There we go. Perfect. The energy flow is normalizing. You should feel much better soon." The creature chirped happily. Marin removed the stabilizer ring. "Okay, try biting gently. Let me see if the tooth hurts." The small dragon opened and closed its mouth slowly. No flinching, no shaking. Instead, its tail glowed a bright, soft blue. Marin clapped her hands. "Yes, it worked. I'm so happy." The dragon's scales brightened into a rainbow shimmer, tiny flashes of pink, gold, and blue lighting up its entire body. Marin gasped in wonder. "Whoa, you glow when you're happy?" The creature nodded proudly. "That's incredible," she said. "You're like a little living star." The dragon lifted its head higher and puffed its chest slightly, as if trying to appear majestic. But to Marin, the effect was more cute than intimidating. Then something surprising happened. A soft, harmonic sound began to echo from the creature's chest. The sound was low at first, like a distant musical note, then grew stronger. The scales near its throat flickered with patterns of glowing light. Marin stepped back cautiously. "Is that normal? Are you okay?" The creature didn't look distressed. Instead, it looked calm, focused. Then it opened its mouth, not to roar, but to release a long, melodic tone. The tone resonated through the room. Objects on nearby shelves trembled slightly. The holographic screens rippled like they were reacting to a wave. "What are you doing?" Marin whispered. The melodic tone deepened. Then the air above the table shimmered. A hologram appeared, bright, complex, and enormous. A star map, a full three-dimensional star map filled with glowing dots, swirling patterns, and intricate pathways that stretched across systems unknown to human explorers. Marin's breath caught in her throat. "Is that your home? Your people? Is this a message?" The dragon's eyes softened as it looked up at her, blinking slowly. The holographic star map shifted. One star glowed brighter than the others, like a beacon. Marin leaned closer. This isn't just a map. It's a signal." The dragon nodded weakly. The light around it dimmed. The creature's body swayed, then collapsed gently on the table, exhausted. Marin rushed forward. Hey, are you okay?" She checked its breathing. It was steady but tired. Whatever it had activated, it must have taken a lot of energy. Marin placed a soft towel over its small body, gently brushing its scales. "You're safe. I'm here. You did something important, didn't you?" "Something big!" She looked again at the map still floating in the air. So many unknown stars. So many secret paths. "This is a message," she whispered. "Maybe a distress call, or a guide." The dragon let out a soft, sleepy chirp. "You showed me your home," she said softly. "You trust me." Marin's heart filled with warmth. She knew something important had just begun. She didn't know what the map meant yet, or why this tiny dragon had chosen her, but she was determined to find out. As the hologram faded, she gently rested her hand on the creature's back. "Rest," she whispered. "You're safe now. Tomorrow, we'll figure out what all this means." Outside the lab, the quiet hum of the station continued, unaware that a small dental procedure had just opened the door to an interstellar mystery. The soft humming of machines filled Dr. R. Marin Holt's laboratory. Every screen, every table, every shelf was exactly where it always had been. But to Marin, the room felt completely different now. It felt like the center of something far bigger than Helix 9 station, something that stretched across stars. And the cause of this feeling was lying right in front of her. The small alien dragon, whom she had started calling Flicker, was curled on the exam table, sleeping peacefully under a warm blanket. Its scales glowed with slow, calm colors like the gentle waves of an ocean. The mysterious star map it had projected earlier was gone now, leaving only the memory of the brilliant lights floating in the air. A map, a signal, or maybe a warning. Marin sat beside Flicker, her chin resting on her hand as she studied him. She kept replaying the moment when he sang the harmonic tone that brought the star map to life. She had never seen anything like it. Alien creatures usually had strange abilities, yes, but this felt purposeful, intentional, almost ceremonial. "You're full of surprises," she whispered. Flicker stirred slightly, letting out a soft chirp, then went still again. Marin smiled. "Don't worry. Sleep as long as you need." She stood up and stretched. Her back cracked loudly, making her wince. "Oh, stars, I've been sitting too long," she muttered. She walked across the room to check the energy readings stored in her console. The analytics had been running ever since the star map appeared. She expected something strange, and she wasn't disappointed. Lines of data scrolled across the screen. Bioplasma energy. Spike 300% above expected. Harmonic resonance. Frequency. Non-human. Projected output. Cultural or communication pattern. Marin raised her eyebrows. So it wasn't random. It was meant to show something. She tapped the console again. More data appeared. Holographic star field. Unknown number of systems. 137 local match. None. A small thrill ran through her chest. "That map showed star systems humans have never seen," she whispered. "Flicker, who are you really?" Just then, the lab door opened with a soft hiss. Commander Riven, a tall, serious woman with sharp brown eyes, stepped inside. 2 security officers followed her. Marin tensed. "Commander, everything is under control." Riven gave her a flat look. "Dr. Holt, I just received a report that a large unknown energy surge came directly from your lab. Care to explain?" Marin pointed calmly at the sleeping dragon. "It came from him," one of the officers whispered to the other. "Told you that little thing wasn't normal." Riven ignored her officers and stepped closer to the table, studying Flicker with narrowed eyes. "What exactly did it do?" "Well," Marin rubbed the back of her neck. "After I fixed his damaged tooth, he emitted a harmonic sound. That sound triggered a projection, a very complex projection." Riven crossed her arms. "A projection of what?" "A star map." The room fell silent. "A what?" Riven asked, her voice suddenly sharper. "A star map," Marin repeated. "Not human, not from any known database. I think Flicker was trying to show us where he came from." The commander stared at her long enough that Marin felt her heartbeat speed up. "Show me," Riven finally said. "I can't," Marin said apologetically. It wasn't a machine projection. It came from Flicker's own biology. He's too tired to repeat it now. Riven sighed, rubbing her temples. Dr. Holt, you brought an unknown alien onto the station, performed a procedure on it without quarantine, and now you're telling me it just revealed a star map no human has ever seen. Marin straightened her back. Yes, ma'am, but he's not dangerous, and he was in pain. I couldn't leave him like that. Riven stared at her again, but this time her expression softened slightly. You've always been too compassionate for your own good. Marin shrugged. Someone needs to be. Riven turned to leave. Keep monitoring him. If anything else happens, report it immediately. Space Command will want a full briefing. Yes, Commander. When the door closed behind the three officers, Marin let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. She sat back down beside Flicker. Well, that could have gone worse. Flicker made a sleepy trill as if agreeing. Marin leaned closer. You know, your star map scared everyone, but it also impressed them. Humans love discovering new things. She paused. And you're definitely new. She reached out and touched the smooth, warm scales on Flicker's head. He leaned gently into her hand. Suddenly, beep, beep, beep! The station alarm blared again, louder this time. Marin jumped. What now? A voice crackled from the overhead speakers. Attention all personnel. Unidentified vessel detected entering outer scan range. No response to hails. Marin felt her stomach drop. Another unknown ship? She ran to her console and opened the external feed. The camera zoomed in on a massive silhouette, far larger than any human craft. Its hull was dark, smooth, and lined with glowing symbols that pulsed in rhythmic patterns. The screen gave a reading, vessel type, unknown. Energy signature, similar to subject Flicker. Possible affiliation, unknown species. Marin felt a chill run down her spine. Flicker, she whispered. Is this your people? The dragon's eyes snapped open instantly. He sat up sharply, his scales flaring with bright red and fearful blue. Flicker? What's wrong? Marin asked quickly. The small dragon trembled. His tail lashed from side to side. His wings shook. He looked at the screen and let out a terrified, high-pitched chirp. Marin froze. That's fear, she said softly. You're scared of that ship? Flicker nodded violently. Marin's mind raced. That meant the ship wasn't friendly, and if it wasn't his people, then... Are those your enemies? She whispered. Flicker lowered his head and closed his eyes tightly, as if remembering something painful. His scales rippled in dark, stormy colors. Marin felt her heart break a little. Oh no. So you were running from them. The loudspeaker crackled again. All science personnel report to emergency stations. Unidentified vessel approaching. Possible hostile intent. Marin didn't know what to do. She wasn't trained for combat or emergencies like this. She was just a scientist. A nerdy girl who liked alien creatures more than she liked people. But she looked at Flicker trembling on the table, and she knew she couldn't leave him alone. Listen to me, she said softly, kneeling to his level. You're safe. I won't let them take you. I promise. Flicker's tail dimmed to a soft blue, hopeful, trusting. The station shook suddenly, making everything rattle. Tools fell off shelves. Flicker squeaked and jumped into Marin's arms. What was that? Marin gasped. Boom! Another tremor. The loudspeaker roared, Unidentified vessel has locked onto our shields. Prepare for possible boarding. Marin held Flicker tightly. We have to move. We can't stay here. She grabbed her emergency bag, which thankfully included portable scanners and Flicker's medical data, and rushed toward the door. The hallway outside was full of flashing red lights. People ran in every direction. Officers barked instructions. Engineers sprinted to fix power systems. The station felt alive with fear and urgency. Marin hugged Flicker close, his wings wrapped around her torso like a scared child. "It's okay," she whispered. "I know you're afraid. I'm afraid too, but we'll figure something out." As she moved through the crowded hallway, something else happened. Flicker lifted his head. His eyes glowed. His scales brightened. He wasn't crying anymore. He wasn't shaking. Instead, he was scanning their surroundings with sharp, focused attention. Marin noticed the change. "What is it?" Flicker tapped her shoulder gently with his tail, then pointed his snout toward the emergency elevator. "You want to go there?" she asked. He nodded. "How do you know?" Flicker touched her forehead lightly with his snout. A tiny spark of warm energy moved through her skin. "This is guidance," she whispered. "You can sense something." She didn't understand how, but she trusted him. She sprinted toward the elevator, Flicker guiding her with small nudges and chirps. When the doors slid open, they stepped inside, and Marin hit the button for the lower engineering deck. As the elevator descended, the station shook again. Flicker's tail wrapped around her arm, steadying her. Marin held him close. Whatever was happening, whatever that huge enemy ship wanted, whatever message Flicker had shared. She knew one thing for certain. This was no longer just a dental emergency. This was the start of something much bigger, and she was right in the middle of it. The elevator hummed quietly as it descended toward the lower engineering deck of Helix 9 station. The red emergency lights flickered on and off, painting the tiny space with a mix of shadows and sharp color. Dr. Marin Holt held Flicker tightly in her arms, feeling his small heartbeat racing against her chest. Every few seconds, the station shook from another distant impact or energy surge. "Just a little longer," Marin whispered, though she wasn't sure if she was reassuring Flicker or herself. Flicker peeked up at the ceiling, eyes glowing with shifting colors. He wasn't trembling anymore. Instead, he seemed focused, alert, like he knew exactly what was happening. Marin pressed her back against the wall as the elevator finally slowed and stopped. With a soft ding, the doors slid open. The engineering deck was chaos. Engineers were rushing from one console to another, calling out updates. Sparks flew from a broken panel near the far wall. A few crew members carried heavy power cells toward the shield generator. The air felt hot and tense, buzzing with frantic energy. "Shields down to 40%, someone shouted. "Reroute backup power! Do it now!" Marin stepped forward nervously. "Is Commander Riven here?" An engineer turned around, surprised to see her. "Dr. Holt? What are you doing here? You should be in a safe zone." "I need to find Commander Riven," Marin said quickly. "And we need to hide Flicker, now." The engineer's eyes drifted to the small dragon in her arms, and his jaw dropped. "Stars above. That thing is real?" "No time to explain," Marin said. "Please, where's the commander?" "She's in the shield room, far end of the deck." "Thank you." Marin hurried down the hallway. Flicker looked over her shoulder at the engineers rushing around them, but he didn't seem afraid. His tail glowed softly, pulsing with a calm rhythm. "You're very brave," Marin murmured. Flicker puffed out his little chest proudly. They entered the shield room just as Commander Riven slammed her hand against a console. "We need more power to the front arc. Prioritize—" She stopped mid-sentence when she saw Marin. "Dr. Holt, why are you—" But before she could finish, the station shook violently. Everyone grabbed onto walls or consoles to avoid falling. Flicker squealed and dug his claws gently into Marin's sleeve. "What was that?" Marin gasped. An officer checked the reading. "The enemy ship fired a destabilizing pulse. Shields are down to 15%. Riven cursed under her breath. "How close are they?" "Within docking distance," the officer replied grimly. Marin felt her stomach twist. "Docking? But that means—" "They might try to board," Riven said. "We need to prepare for contact." Flicker squeaked loudly and shook his head, wings fluttering in panic. His scales flashed deep red, then dark blue. Fear colors. Riven frowned. What's wrong with it now? He's scared of them, Marin explained. They're not his people. They're his enemies. Riven studied Flicker for a long, tense moment. Then she softened slightly. Dr. Holt, is there something else you need to tell me? Marin swallowed hard. Flicker showed me a star map, a huge one. I think he was trying to send a message. And I think whoever's in that ship wants him. Riven's eyes narrowed. To rescue him, or to capture him, Flicker answered before Marin could. He let out a sharp, frightened call and hid his head under Marin's arm. Marin stroked him gently. Capture. Maybe worse. A heavy silence filled the room. Then Riven straightened her shoulders. Then we protect him. Marin blinked. Really? Of course. He's under our care now, and if those creatures want to harm him, they'll have to get through all of us. Flicker peeked up and chirped weakly. But we can't fight them directly, Riven continued. Their ship has stronger weapons and advanced scanning tech. Our shields won't last much longer. Marin's mind raced. What if Flicker can help? Riven turned sharply. Absolutely not. He's a child. Marin shook her head. He's sentient and intelligent, and his energy is tied to biological systems we don't understand. What if his abilities can stabilize our shield? Or... The station shook again, harder this time. Lights flickered. The floor vibrated violently. Several consoles sparked. Shields down to 5%, an officer shouted. We can't take another hit. Panic rose in the room. Riven slammed her hands on the console. We need a solution now. Marin looked at Flicker. His scales flickered with intense energy. He wasn't afraid now, he was determined. Flicker, she whispered, kneeling to his level. Can you help them? Can we combine your energy with the station's tech? Flicker tilted his head, thinking. Then slowly he nodded. His scales glowed bright white for the first time. Riven stared. What's he doing? He's agreeing, Marin said. He knows how his energy works. We just need to channel it safely. Riven looked torn for a moment, then finally nodded. All right. Tell us what to do. Marin turned to Flicker. Show me! Flicker hopped out of her arms and fluttered toward the main shield console. He placed one tiny paw on the metal surface. Suddenly, bzzzt! A wave of shimmering energy spread from his claws across the console. The lights flickered, then steadied. The holographic shield diagram on the screen brightened, turning from red to orange. Power levels rising, an engineer shouted. He's boosting the shield's resonance. Riven's eyes widened. By how much? Up to 20%. 30. 40. Dr. Holt, this is impossible. Marin grinned widely. Not impossible. Just alien biology. But Flicker wasn't finished. He inhaled deeply, his chest glowing. His scales flashed with complex patterns, spirals and waves of light. He opened his mouth and released a soft harmonic sound, just like the one that had created the star map. The room vibrated gently. The shield diagram pulsed, syncing with Flicker's tone. Shield harmonics stabilizing, the engineer said. He's syncing our frequency to his biological energy. Riven stared in amazement. He's reinforcing our defenses. Marin knelt beside Flicker. You're doing amazing. But be careful, okay? Flicker chirped confidently. But then, the alarm blared again. Warning! Enemy vessel initiating docking latch. Riven's face hardened. They're trying to board. Shields won't stop that. Marin's heart pounded. What do we do? Riven turned to her officers. Seal all bulkheads. Prepare defense teams. Flicker's scales darkened with fear. Marin scooped him up again and held him close. We can't stay here. If they're coming for him, we need to hide. Riven looked torn. You're right. They may target the lab or any area you've been in. Marin nodded. We'll go deeper into the station, somewhere quiet, somewhere they won't expect. Flicker nudged her arm urgently, as if agreeing. Riven looked at them both and said quietly, Marin, protect him, no matter what. I will, Marin promised. Riven gave a firm nod. Go. Now. Marin sprinted toward the exit, Flicker wrapped tightly in her arms. The hallway outside was chaos again. Red lights flashed. Officers ran past with weapons. Engineers shouted over one another. But Flicker guided Marin with small taps of his claws, left at one corner, right at another. He seemed to sense where danger was coming from. Are you navigating? Marin asked in disbelief. Flicker nodded, scales brightening. They reached a maintenance corridor with dim lighting and old pipes lining the walls. Hardly anyone used this place. It was quiet. Too quiet. Marin slowed her pace. Okay, we can catch our breath for a second. She leaned against the wall and let Flicker climb onto her shoulder. The little dragon sniffed the air, then tapped her gently, warning her. Someone was coming. Marin froze. Footsteps, slow, heavy, echoing off the metal corridor. Then a shadow rounded the corner. Marin held her breath. But it wasn't an enemy. It was an engineer holding a wrench. Oh, thanks stars! A friendly face, Marin exhaled. But before she could continue, the engineer looked at Flicker, and his eyes widened in fear. You're the one they're after, he whispered. Marin tightened her hold on Flicker. What do you mean? The enemy ship scanned the station, the engineer said shakily. They sent a message. Marin's heart dropped. What message? The engineer swallowed hard, eyes filled with dread. They said, return the creature, or we will take it by force. Flicker curled against Marin's neck, trembling. Marin hugged him protectively. No, she whispered fiercely. They're not taking you. Because she knew something now. This wasn't just an accident. This was a hunt, and Flicker was the prey. The station shuddered again, a deep, rolling vibration that ran through the floor and walls of Helix 9. Dr. Marin Holt held Flicker tightly in her arms, his small claws gripping her sleeve. Every warning light on the corridor walls blinked furiously, and distant alarms echoed like a chorus of panic. Marin's heart pounded. But she refused to let fear take over. She had never backed down from helping a creature in need, and she wasn't about to start now. Flicker's trust was everything. He had relied on her to heal him, to protect him, and she would honor that trust, no matter the danger. Listen, she whispered, we're not leaving. Not until we know you're safe. Flicker's scales glimmered faintly in response, a calming blue that contrasted with the chaotic red emergency lights. His tail twitched nervously, but he wasn't scared anymore. Not completely. He seemed to sense that she had a plan. Marin glanced at her surroundings. The maintenance corridor they had taken was empty, relatively safe. But she knew the enemy ship was scanning every deck. They could be anywhere. She took a deep breath. Okay, time to think. Her mind raced. Flicker's energy had stabilized the station's shields earlier. That same energy, combined with human technology, might be enough to give them an edge, but they needed more than just defense. They needed mobility. She peered down at Flicker. Do you understand me? We can't stay here. If they board, they'll find you. Flicker tilted his head. Then, very carefully, he tapped her shoulder with his snout and spread his wings slightly. His scales flickered, showing patterns of arrows and lines. You want to help me move? She asked. Flicker chirped softly, and Marin nodded. Okay, let's go. Together, they moved deeper into the station, through maintenance tunnels and seldom-used airlocks. The emergency lights flickered intermittently, making the shadows dance across the walls. Marin held him securely, and he flapped his wings just enough to stabilize her balance when the floor shivered. Finally, they reached the observation deck, a wide room filled with monitors and holographic maps of the surrounding star systems. Marin's eyes widened. This was perfect. They could plan, monitor the enemy ship, and prepare for what was coming. She placed Flicker gently on the floor. He immediately scampered toward the central console, his glowing tail illuminating the control panels. "Wait," she said. "Don't touch. Okay, maybe touch a little. You helped with the shields earlier. Maybe you can help again." Flicker chirped and pressed his paws onto the console. The screens flickered and stabilized, responding to his energy. The star map of the surrounding star systems reappeared, showing a faint blip, the massive enemy vessel still approaching. Marin's eyes scanned the display. "They're closing fast, and they're scans. They're trying to find you." Flicker's scales flickered bright red, then blue. He was tense, but he wasn't panicking. He had an idea, and so did she. "We need to do what we did before," Marin whispered. "We'll combine your energy with the station's systems, but this time, we'll be more precise." Flicker chirped in agreement. Marin moved quickly to the shield console and called out to the few engineers who had survived the panic. "We're going to use his energy to strengthen the station's defenses. Create a kind of sonic plasma barrier. Follow my instructions exactly." The engineers nodded, hesitant but trusting her judgment. If anyone could understand this, it was Dr. Marin Holt, the human who had just healed a dragon's tooth and survived to tell the tale. She guided Flicker to the center of the console, placing him where his energy could interact with the station's main power nodes. He pressed his paws down, and instantly the lights on the floor pulsed with a soft glow, matching the patterns in his scales. "Now," she said, adjusting the station's energy regulators, "focus your resonance on the hull's outer shields." Flicker inhaled deeply. His body glowed white, bright and steady. A harmonic tone began to resonate through the deck. The monitors shivered and then stabilized. The shields hummed with newfound energy. "Look," one engineer exclaimed. "The shield's strength is rising. 50%, 60. Marin smiled. "Good job, Flicker. Keep it steady." The enemy vessel drew closer, its dark hull ominous against the starry backdrop. Its weapons pulsed with dangerous energy signatures, and Marin could feel the tension in the air. But the dragon's resonance worked. The shields absorbed the incoming energy pulses, turning potential disaster into harmless sparks. Flicker chirped proudly, tail flicking rhythmically in time with his energy pulse. Then the ship did something unexpected. It launched small, agile drones toward the station. They darted like shadows through space, aiming to disable the shield controls and security systems. Marin's stomach clenched. "They're not going to stop, are they?" Flicker's eyes glowed gold, and his wings lifted in determination. He leapt onto the control panel, pressing his paws strategically on the interface. The drones approached the station, but every time they tried to get close, a pulse of energy from Flicker repelled them. The engineers stared in awe. "He's controlling them! Somehow!" Marin laughed nervously. "Not controlling, more like guiding. He's like a conductor for his energy. Look at him work." The next hour was a blur of activity. Marin coordinated the engineers, monitored Flicker's energy, and adjusted the station's systems. The little dragon had become the heart of their defense, synchronizing with human technology in a way no one could have imagined. And slowly, methodically, the enemy vessel realized it couldn't easily breach the station's defenses. Every attempt to board, every pulse, was countered by Flicker's energy and the station's human ingenuity. Finally, after tense hours, the enemy ship retreated, moving back into the darkness of space. Alarms quieted, lights stabilized, and the station's crew let out a collective sigh of relief. Marin knelt beside Flicker, stroking his head. "You did it. We did it together." The little dragon chirped happily and nuzzled against her cheek. His scales pulsed with a gentle rainbow glow, a sign of relief and trust. Commander Riven entered the room, her face unreadable at first. Then, slowly, a smile appeared. "Dr. Holt and your companion, you saved this station." Marin laughed softly. "Not me alone. We did it together. He's amazing, isn't he?" Riven nodded, looking down at Flicker. "He is. And I think humanity just earned a friend among the stars." Marin's heart swelled. He already trusts humans. That's enough for me. Later, in the quiet hours after the attack, Marin sat with Flicker in the observation deck. The dragon rested on her lap, softly humming and letting his energy pulse gently through her hands. Marin studied the star map Flicker had projected earlier. One star glowed brighter than the others, pulsing like a beacon. She traced it with her finger. "That must be your home. You were trying to show me something, weren't you?" Flicker chirped softly and nudged her hand. Marin smiled. "I get it. You want me to help you go there, to save your species, or at least see them again." Flicker's eyes glimmered with hope. Marin looked out at the stars. Humanity had always been small, fragile, and cautious, but she realized something important: compassion, ingenuity, and courage. These were humanity's strengths. The ability to help those in need, even when danger lurked nearby, was what made humans remarkable. She hugged Flicker close. "We'll go together. I promise. We'll find your home and help your people." The dragon chirped again, tail curling happily around her arm. Marin knew that the journey ahead would be long and dangerous, but she also knew that if humanity could fix a tiny alien dragon's tooth and protect him from interstellar hunters, then they could face anything. Together, with courage and compassion, humans and alien allies could reshape the galaxy, not with war, but with hope. As the observation deck lights dimmed and the stars outside the viewport shimmered, Marin whispered, "Tomorrow, we start the journey. And Flicker, we'll make sure no one ever hurts you again." Flicker nestled closer, resting his glowing head against her shoulder. Together, human and dragon, they looked out at the endless stars. Somewhere out there was his home, waiting. Somewhere out there was a future that neither species could face alone, but together, they could. And for the first time in her life, Marin Holt felt that humanity, small, fragile, and curious, had a chance to shine among the stars.